he should then stand with folded hands before the Lord and pray, "O my Lord, please protect me, whom I am surrendered unto you. I am most fearful of this ocean of material existence, standing as I am in the mouth of death." So simply by offering obeisance is not enough. We have to chant. We have to pray also. So, and then incidentally he also specified what is Ashtanga Pranamam. Some long time back when I was giving another class, one of the devotee, he asked this question, which are the 8 angas that should be used when doing a Dandavat Pranam. So that was not at all related to the topic of the class. Okay. So I thought, should we explain it? Then I said, probably the important part is only using the words, the mind, and the head. So karma comes back. So now I am here in this purport. Srila Prabhupada is mentioning that Dandavat Pranam is explained in this. So I was forced to go back and look at this thing, and that's what it is mentioned. Janubhyam chaiva bahubhyam shirasa vajasa dhiya pancha. Sorry, this is okay. This is Panchanga Pranamam. 360 it says Dorbhyam padabhyam cha janubhyam urasha shirasa drisha manasa vachasa cheti pranamo ashtanga iritaha. Okay. So one should bow down with both the arms, both feet, both knees, the chest, head, eyes, heart and words. This is called bowing down with the 8 parts of the body. And there is Panchanga Pranam also, which is mentioned in Hari Bhakti Vilas. One should bow down with both arms, both knees, head, words and intelligence. And intelligent, words and intelligence, it's mentioned. Panchanga Pranam is including words and intelligence. This is called bowing down with 5 parts of the body. These 2 kinds of bowing down are excellent when worshipping the Lord. Is it very important to offer obeisance to the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Is it? Suppose you are not showing, you don't have the real respect to the Lord, but you are faking it. Is it still beneficial if you try to fake obeisance to the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Still. Yeah, fake it until it make it. And Sanatana Goswami specifically mentioned that even if you don't have that feeling, what you should do? If you do, then thousands of janmas sins are actually gone. You are an imposter and still you can come and pay obeisance to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay. So look at Chaitanya Charitamrita. Every moment any devotee sees another devotee or Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, every time it is mentioned Dandavat Pranam, Dandavat Pranam, Dandavat Pranam. In Srimad Bhagavatam you will not find it in many places. You have seen the instances in with Didi, Mother Didi, during the pastime of Vamana. When Didi was praying, is it Didi or Aditi? Aditi was praying. So the Supreme and the Lord Vishnu appeared into the scene. And she didn't know what to do. She was so happy seeing, and she immediately paid the Dandavat Pranam to Supreme Lord. When Dhruva Maharaj saw, he also paid Supreme, his Dandavat Pranams to the Lord. And you see what is the benefit of giving Dandavat Pranams to the Supreme Lord. Sanatana Goswami has given so many verses which says that what is actual benefit on paying obeisances. And Srila Prabhupada in Chaitanya Charitamrita says that one should pay obeisance to the Supreme Lord, but make sure that you don't have an upper vastra, anga vastra. Upper part of the body should not be covered. Actually, this was something news to me when I read. Most of the time when we pay obeisance to the Supreme Lord, we have this jubba or something. And Prabhupada says, and then it is mentioned that if you have that, then you go to hell. And then, but looking at all our ISKCON temple, no, we don't follow that standard. Okay. And then Srila Prabhupada also mentions that obeisances should not be one time. You have to do multiple times obeisances. If you look at our 6 Goswamis, who was known for that? Every Friday we sing, right? Goswami Astashat Goswami Ashtakam. He says, Sankhya Purvaka Nama Gana Natabhi. What is Nama? Yeah, Nama, holy name. Gana, singing. What is Natapi? Walking? I was thinking it is Natapi is dancing. But then when I looked into it, it is Natapi is not dancing. Natapi is paying obeisances. So, we should have a fixed number of obeisances daily. We chant 16 rounds, right? And when we sing also, we should say, have a thing that I will be singing for, I don't know, 2 hours, 1 hour or 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Sankhya Purvaka Namagana Natapi. And if you look at Raghunathas Goswami, how much he was chanting in a day? Every day he used to chant 100,000 names of the Lord. Every day he used to pay obeisance to the Supreme Lord. How many times? 2,000 times Dandavats. Plus 1,000 times he pays Dandavats to Vaishnavas. Is it really required? Is it really required? In this time, is it really required? How many of you have visited Tirupati? Most of us might have visited Tirupati. And I heard some of the devotees in their lectures. Then in Tirupati, the Lord's right hand, lower right hand, is something peculiar, not like others, right? It shows down. It's not like this, it's not blessing. It's actually showing down. And incidentally, some of the devotees say that the reason is that he's showing that in Kali Yuga, all the jivas, you have only one place to go. I'm showing that place is my lotus feet. And if you look at the pastimes in Ramayana, when Vibhishana is coming to take shelter of the Lord Rama's lotus feet, Lord Rama went and asked each one of them, what do you think? This is real management. If you understand what is management, you have to learn it from the Supreme Lord himself. Supreme Lord knows everything, right? He knows what is the conclusion also. But right now, he is with whom? He is not alone, right? It is not his, he is with his coalition government, right? Others are also there. And then he don't take individual decisions. He calls up his team and says, what do you think? Should we give acceptance? Should we accept Vibhishana? So every one of them, Sugriva starts, he says, Lord, I don't think he's... And somebody else says that, I think we should monitor him. 2 weeks, let us monitor him. Angada said, we should give him a set of questions. If he answers the questions, quiz, right? There also they had test. Bhakti Pravesha. You have test. And then if you fill up that form perfectly, we will accept. And Jambava also asked this question. And Jambava said, my lord, I don't think that today we should accept him. Let him go back and come back another day. Jambava is very, very intelligent. Okay. He knows everything. He has seen many, many Rama avatars. Okay. But Jambavan is also taking part of in that, Leela. He said, let him come some other day. He is leaving. Finally, Lord Rama tells them 2 stories. One story you might know about the bear, You heard about that story, the tiger was chasing a man, it took shelter on a tree, and there was a bear, and Rama says another story. That story, he says that there was 2 birds, they were living in a tree, and there was a male bird, and a hunter came and took that male bird. For what? To kill. Hunter killed the male bird. And after so many days, the hunter came back. And in this tree, the female bird was alone. And then this hunter, he came and took shelter of the tree where she was staying, their house. And it was cold season. So what did the hunter do? He lighted a small fire so that he can escape from the cold weather. And he was taking shelter. So the female bird was seeing And the female bird thought, oh, he's taking shelter of my home. And he's my guest. And then, as a guest, I have to treat him. And how will I treat him? What is there within the bird's hand? It doesn't have a hand, I will say. To feed, give him the guest. She didn't have anything. So what she did, she left her body, she just committed suicide onto that fire in front of the hunter. So that she gave her flesh to the hunter, so that the hunter can be fed. And Sri Ramachandra Murthy then compares himself to that female bird. He says, and Sita Devi as the male bird. He says, the hunter who was Ramana, he initially came and took Sita Devi away. Like the male bird, he took. Now, I am that female bird, and then from the same family who is coming? Vibhishna is coming. It's like the hunter coming back. What should you think that I should do? And then one of the most beautiful slokas which is mentioned by Lord Rama is there, right? Sagrit eva prapanno. Tava asmi iti yachate. Abhayam sarvada tasmai. Which is the last one? Abhayam sarvada tasmai. Finally he says, Dridam mama. This is my Dridavrata mama. And if you look at the qualities of Sri Rama, one of the quality which is mentioned by Lord Rama is Dridavrata. You know what do you mean by Dridavrata? Strong. Once he says something, he will never forsake that word. In these movies you have seen, right? Or I don't know whether it is scriptures or in serials. Rakupati sadachaliyayo prana jaye par vachan na jaye, right? So Rama is very determined, and he says sakrit eva prapannos. One time if somebody offer obeisances to me, just one time, sakrit. And he says, my Lord, I am yours. Tava asmi, I am yours. Iti yachate. One time if somebody comes and surrenders to me, then he says, Abhayam sarvata tasmai. Every time I will protect him. Not even a single time the Lord will fail protecting that devotee. So, this is something very, very unique when the Lord extends his support and determination to protect his devotees. For us it was very, very difficult. I would say for us it's very, very easy to get. But sometimes if you look at stories and pastimes of the acharyas, even in understanding this and surrendering to the Lord, for us it is very, very easy. Like, Srila Prabhupada is mentioned. Even in the purport, even in the beginning of introduction of Bhagavad Gita, he mentions that one's main aim is to surrender to the lotus feet of the Lord. But if you look at the pastimes of Sripad Ramanacharya, how did Ramanacharya get this understanding of what is the final principle? The Mahapurna advised Sripad Ramanacharya that you go and take shelter of which Nambi was that? Periyanambi. Yeah, Periyanambi. It takes shelter of him and then get this final conclusion. And Ramanacharya, I heard some devotees mentioning that from his place where he is staying to the place where Periyanambi is residing, he paid obeisances and went. Okay. Every step was like, he didn't walk. He was paying obeisances and reached there. And then Periyanambi said, he was not interested to give this instruction. Ramanuja was actually, he was heartbroken, he went back. 18 times he traveled back to Periyanambi to get this instruction. After that, I think before that, even Perinambi visited Srirangam. The Lord himself told Perinambi that, see, you please give this instruction to Ramanacharya. And Nambi said, sorry, I need to make sure that he is capable enough, he is sincere enough to understand that. Can you imagine, the Lord is commanding, this is my instruction. You please give the final conclusion to Sripad Ramanacharya. Still he said, sorry, I need to test him. 18 times he went to Perinambi's house, and 18 times he was rejected. And Ramanacharya finally, Nambi sent one of his disciples, and Ramanacharya was crying in front of him. And then he understood, yes, now I have to tell. And you know what was the instruction given to him? Not to disclose. But what was the two things he disclosed? One was Om Namo Narayana, and then second was very secretly he gave this instruction. Okay? Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam prajo. So in ISKCON, everyone knows this, right? It's an open secret. Understanding this is an open secret. But that process of surrendering to the Supreme Lord, it's very, very difficult, right? So, even though we are not able to make that effort of completely surrendering to the Supreme Lord, the Lord is still happy when he sees that we are paying obeisances under his lotus feet. It is even mentioned that a person who pays obeisance to the Lord and a person who has done 10 Ashwamedha Yajnas, still you cannot compare both of them. You know why? The person who has done Ashwamedha Yajna still comes back to this material world. But a person who has paid obeisances to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, he will never come back to this material world. And this is mentioned by Sanatana Goswami. So if you look at each and every anga, you should know it is not a physical exercise. Is it just a physical exercise that, I go and pay obeisances? My Lord, I finished everything. Now my chanting is done. Anyway, I'm going back to Godhead, right? But there are two ways of doing it. Now we are following what? Which bhakti we are following? Sadhana bhakti. We are following vidhi, rules and regulations, right? So the obeisances which we are giving is coming under which? Sadhana bhakti. It's completely regulated. But then there is another bhakti where they pay obeisances. It is raga, marga. So there is a difference between the bhakti which we are doing. In vidhi, you have to make sure that you are following the rules and regulations. You cannot say, oh, Krishna is very merciful, so he will forgive me. You cannot expect his mercy by not following the rules and regulations. For example, if you think about the deity worship. The Lord is very, very merciful, and he has come in front of us in the form of the deity. And when we have to follow his worship, he has mentioned this is the way we have to worship him. So deity worship, two things very important is, one is cleanliness, and second is punctuality, right? Probably this is very difficult for people like me. Punctuality, the Lord has decided this is the time we have to do. Okay? Cleanliness. These are the two things which is very, very important for deity worship. We cannot give an excuse telling that, oh, Lord is very merciful. Sometimes I'm not very particular, still he will excuse us. No, you can't do that in vidhi. In vidhi, we should be very, very careful. But when you come to the raga platform, some people say that, oh my Lord, why should I worry about the vidhi mark? The Lord will look at the heart of the devotee. He will look at the bhava, right? But bhava stage will come when? Does it immediately manifest in our heart? Sometimes Srila Prabhupada was mentioning this to some devotees, right? That devotee, he saw the Lord, Supreme Lord, in face to face. So Prabhupada then asked him, can you ask whether after seeing the Supreme Lord, is he still seeing Maya? Once a person sees the Supreme Lord, then he will not see this material world. If that person is still seeing the material world, that means he is still seeing Maya. So the test of somebody who is really, really advanced in Raga Bhakti or Raganuga or Ragatmika, that level, that means they are not seeing this material universe. And if you look at some of the acharyas, you will understand that. I think it was, who was that? During Bhaktivedanta Swami Thakur's time, there was one devotee who Bhaktivedanta Swami Thakur said, never go and associate with this particular devotee. He told his disciples. And the disciples were wondering, why Bhaktivedanta Swami Thakur said, don't go and associate with him. Who was that? Babaji Maharaj. Okay, okay. So Prabhu is telling it is Vamsidhari Babaji Maharaj. So he said, don't go and associate. And the reason he said, it is because you don't understand his mood. When you go and associate with him, you can't understand his mood and you will commit offenses. That is why you don't go. But what you do, you should see him from far away, offer his obeisances unto him and come back. And when this Babaji used to travel and kids used to throw stones at him, immediately he will respond in a different way. He says that, oh, Krishna, I will go and complain to Yashoda Mata. You're throwing stones at me? I will go and make a complaint to Mother Yashoda. So, even if as normal behavior, he sees it in a different way. He understands this is actually coming from the Supreme Lord. So this is the way in which a person who has seen the Supreme Lord, who is interacting with the Supreme Lord, that is the way he behaves. So for us to come to that platform is actually probably a task which may take some time. But if you follow the process, the process is what? First and foremost is like, our faith, Shraddha. Recently I was hearing one of the lectures and then he was asking, one of the devotee was asking, what do you mean by Shraddha? Shraddha on what? Adav Shraddha. On what we should have Shraddha? Is it the Supreme Lord we should have Shraddha or something else? Process? What else? Actually all the questions are right, but still from the rasa point of view, all the answers are always right. Scriptures. Yeah. So the exact is Shraddha on the scriptures. And this is one of the biggest differentiation which you see between ISKCON and other religious institutions. When Srila Prabhupada went to West and he came back and he met some of the Indian businessmen, they all came to Srila Prabhupada and said, Swamiji, can you show some magic? Not magic, what is it called? Your power. Yeah, can you show us some miracle? Then Srila Prabhupada, every time somebody asks this question of miracle, he says something different. He says, I went to America with 40 rupees and then I have hundreds of temples all around the world. I have so many disciples and still I have the 40 rupees with me. So don't you think it is a miracle? So if you look at any other religion, they don't have faith on scriptures. Where is their faith? Their faith is on miracle. Suppose in India, you see so many institutions. Okay, let us take an example of an institution where they used to show some miracle and the followers, when they do Sangha, they speak about what? They speak about only the different. Why do you follow that personality? because the miracle. One time, one of the ISKCON devotees, he went to one businessman's house in South India. So he went to that house and he saw, if entered, if from the front room was like very big hall. And there was a photo of a very huge photo of a personality, not ISKCON. And this photo was there, and below the photo he kept a small plate. And on the plate there are drops of rice grains falling onto that. And it is only not even half. So this devotee, he entered, he is a Prabhupada disciple. He asked this householder, what is this? He said, this is miracle, Bhagavan Swayam is here. And he asked, why? What is this? You see from this photo what is falling down? Rice grains are falling down. So what does it mean? He is Bhagavan. So the devotee then asked this question, can you open that window? And actually it was a farmhouse. He opened that window, and on the field he saw lots of rice grains. And he said, how long have been these rice grains falling on from this photo? He said, probably 6 months. He said, can you open the door and see how many rice grains are there in the field? Who is providing that rice grains? This is provided by Krishna. So, people who are having low faith, it is mentioned as komal sraddha. They go after what? They go after miracles. But those who are having firm faith, they go after scriptures. That is why, if you look at a neophyte devotee and a person who is a Madhyama Adhikari says that he has faith in scriptures. So whatever is mentioned in the scriptures are also as the word of the Supreme Lord. So this faith, if is being cultivated, if this faith is cultivated by following our scriptures, following Bhagavad Gita, following Srimad Bhagavatam, then we are actually on the right track. So even following Srimad Bhagavatam, even following Bhagavad Gita, we will understand that yes, this is the right thing. And this person will never fall down from that position. Word of the Lord, which is the scriptures. This is something we should have firm faith. Scriptures will never talk wrong. And this, when we say, the pastime of, understanding that once you offer our obeisance to the Supreme Lord, the Lord will always protect us. This is the word. We every day will have to cultivate that. And if we cultivate that, that is our success. And then finally we will wind up this class, wherein which, if you look at our great Vaishnava Acharya, who sings in his Mukunda Mala Stotra, he says that Mukunda Murdhva Pranipatti Yachi. He says, my Lord, there is only one desire within me. Every time, if how many janmas I take, only have one desire. I should never forget your lotus feet. I don't care that, many janmas are given to me. But only thing is that I should always remember your lotus feet. And this is the most secure place in the Supreme, in all the three worlds. The most secure place in all the three worlds is the lotus feet of Supreme Lord. And then if you go to that lotus feet, you will not be alone. Do you think that the lotus feet will be alone? It is crowded. So many devotees are there. You will not be alone. You will be fully enthusiastic because all the devotees are there under his lotus feet. Including Srila Yeshi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Vaicharanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So once you have the determination, once you have the intense prayer to reach his lotus feet, then one day, because of the mercy of the Supreme Lord and the disciples, we will be able to reach that platform. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Nirantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Vancha kalpadrabhyasya kripa sindhubhyo patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Sorry, any corrections or any questions or any additions, please welcome.
Chant one time Hare Krishna for His Grace Vamsidhari Mohandas Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. The lesson for us that we all should pay obeisances, Dandvat Pranam, Panchang Pranam, and when the opportunity is there. I was actually a few days back I was advised by one of the senior devotees that nowadays we miss, as soon as we enter we should offer pranam, and here also when we enter this hall actually we all should offer pranam, Prabhujis and Matajis. Of course at the entrance if Matajis are sitting on the chair and some Mataji are sitting and gets crowded, then not to offer pranam. Otherwise, the etiquette is that immediately at entrance we should offer pranam to all the Vaishnavas here. So, but looking at our circumstances, one should decide. But certainly we should offer our pranam many times, as Prabhu glorified that this is what was the most beneficial to us. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So today we have certificates for distribution. I would request Mukund Murai Prabhuji to suggest.
Hare Krishna. So we are very happy to see from our Antaranga Chaitanya Das Prabhuji's Bhakti Riksha. 9 Bhakti Riksha members are taking